All right. Happy Monday. Let me just adjust whatever the heck my sweater is doing. Happy Monday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on live today. Oh, by the way, I'm Julie with Balance Life with Julie. I'm a regenerative health practitioner and a holistic nutritionist. And I always love coming on live on Mondays to answer health questions and to just um, riff a little bit. If you're watching this video, whether it's live or replay, and you're unfamiliar with what regenerative health is all about addressing the root causes of chronic health issues. So last week I covered Hashimoto's and what are some of the things that you want to look at in terms of addressing Hashimoto's. But this week I really want to dive into the food side of it. Now, with any autoimmune condition, which is what Hashimoto's is, we want to be looking at diet, lifestyle, stress level, trauma, toxicity within the body, chemical and heavy metal toxicity, as well as parasites. So there are many, many things that go into it, and nervous system regulation, which is huge. That kind of falls into that part of trauma, stress. But stress is more than most of the time. People tend to think of stress as mental, emotional stress, but stress can be chemical stress. It can be EMFs. It can be, mold toxicity within the environment. It can be so many things. But today, I really want to focus on the diet side of it. One of the things that I say in a lot of my videos and to my clients and to anybody who's interested in working with me is that if we start at the foundation, which is addressing the quality of hydration and the quality of diet, we're going to actually be on the right track in terms of healing. We'll make that forward momentum. Will we be all the way there? No, but we're going to clean up the mess big time. So on the nutrition side of it, I'm going to run my hydrogen cycle here. On the nutrition side of it, there's understanding the impact that food has on your body. I do not look at food one of the most outdated things that I see in the health and wellness space is people who still talk about calories and macros. Calories, counting macros. To me, that is such an outdated way of looking at food. I look at food literally as energy and information. Are there any living enzymes in that food? Is that living food? Does it have any quality nutrients? Because if it doesn't, it actually is costing your body more than it is helping. And what I mean by costing your body more is that when you put foods into your body that are unnatural, that are hard for your body to digest, and if you already have an existing condition, we know that your body is dealing with chronic and systemic inflammation. We know that there's a tremendous amount of stress in the system because when you have some kind of a disease diagnosis, whether it's an autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's or cancer or any PCOS, that's a big one that I get all the time. When you have any type of chronic health condition, your body is under stress. It is under systemic stress. And if you continue to stress out your system by putting in foods and drink that is completely unnatural to the human body, and it is really, really hard for your body to digest and process, you're actually creating even more stress. And I know that people hate hearing that, but those are the facts, my friends. Those are the facts. So in terms of Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, I am going to talk about those two in conjunction. And the reason, oh, look, I got balloons. I have never had balloons on on YouTube. I've never had balloons. I'm not even on Zoom. I usually get balloons when I'm on a Zoom. Okay, I digress. This is what you got to love about live video. You do not know what is going to happen. So stay till the end because you never know what's going to happen. So I am going to talk about hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's together because in 90% of the, first of all, 1 in 8 women in the US have hypothyroidism. And in 90% of those cases, they have Hashimoto's as well. And the reason that they do have that sort of, I said marriage, for lack of a better word, of hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. On the flip side, if you're dealing with hyperthyroidism, meaning that your thyroid gland is over functioning, overstimulated, most of the time in those cases, you're probably dealing with Graves' disease, which is also an autoimmune condition, but it's a different kind of autoimmune condition. Hang on. I started talking and I didn't turn my phone off. And Murphy's Law, since I got the balloons, I'm sure my phone will start ringing too. So let's get rid of the distractions. Okay, so in the case of Hashimoto's and any autoimmune condition, one of the things we're also dealing with in any health issue, we are dealing with gut issues, right? Because all disease starts in the gut. Now, from a diet standpoint, certain foods just are harder for your body to break down. They create a lot of systemic stress. And if you're dealing with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, they create stress for your thyroid. Why? Because that is the part of your body that is compromised big time, right? So this is in no particular order, right? So I don't want you to start taking notes and be like, well, let me get this out and I think I got it. And the other thing I want you to also understand is it's not just about eliminating certain foods that are acidic and toxic to your body. You must detox. Now I got the thumbs up. Isn't that great? YouTube gave me the thumbs up on that one. You must detox. Anytime your body is dealing with a chronic health issue, the only way that your body can regenerate itself from a regenerative health standpoint is that if you actually truly allow your system to reset. Think of your body almost like a computer. So when you're dealing with a computer that has some kind of an issue, sometimes the best thing to do is a complete system reset, right? Same thing with your body. When your body is dealing with 1, 2, 3, maybe I have had people come to me with 4 different autoimmune conditions. The body is calling for a system reset. And I know that people hate hearing that because you want it to be easy. And in marketing and in the health and wellness industry, there's a lot of people that are selling you quick fixes. And if you believe in the quick fix, first of all, don't believe the hype. But if you believe in the quick fix, you really are doing your body a disservice. So certain foods are just inflammatory. Certain things are just problematic for the body, right? And the faster you can get these things out of your body and come more to the alkaline side of chemistry, the more your body will thank you. So we are an alkaline species. That doesn't mean we're like a pH of 14, but we are more in the middle of that alkalinity scale. And our blood pH is supposed to be 7.4. So when we put a lot of acid forming things in our body, it creates a tremendous amount of stress. And our body, bless our body, it works so hard to keep us alive that when you're putting all that toxic stuff into your system, your body will either use cholesterol, calcium, or fat to try to buffer those acids. Simple as that. Right? So one of the things I always do with all my clients is when we're doing a consult, I will pull up the food chart and the acidity of different foods. And I'll say, have a look at this chart. Would you say you're on the one side, pH of 1, or pH is potential for hydrogen, by the way. We're primarily hydrogen beings, which is why I recommend drinking molecular hydrogen water. And I'm going to be talking a lot about molecular hydrogen next month. And there's actually a particular type of molecular hydrogen bottle that I use with frequencies. And there's a reason. There's always a reason for everything I do. There's a reason for that. So most of the time when I give my clients this chart, they will inevitably tell me that what they're eating is more in the pH of 1 and not so much in the 7 column. So then that explains what's happening in their body, why there's so much acidity, why there is toxicity, why there is chronic illness and disease, because they are literally on the wrong side of the scale. When we're eating high acid forming foods, not only does your body have to buffer all those acids, but it's tremendously dehydrating. It's stressing the system. So I know you've been anxiously waiting for the list. Sugar. We are in a sugar season, aren't we? If you consume processed sugar, I'm not talking about fruit. I'm not saying fruit. I'm talking about sugar. I'm talking about cupcakes, candy, baked goods, anything that has sugar, your gum, you know, anything that includes honey too, by the way, anything that has sugar is going to stress your system. It's not that this is a problem so much for the thyroid. It's that sugar is highly, highly inflammatory. And anytime the body is dealing with inflammation, your body is trying to regulate itself. So the more you can get the inflammatory stuff out of your system, the more your body will thank you. So sugar is one of those things. Get rid of it. Also, sugar, parasites also love sugar. And so if the thought of sugar, especially here we are in December, Christmas time, and everybody's shoving cookies in your face, if the thought of getting rid of sugar makes you anxious, that means that you have parasites. And everyone has parasites. It's just part of being human. But the parasites really rebel because all these foods that I'm going to start listing off, except for 2, they feed off of. And the thought of you getting, because they also can hijack your thinking, when you start to think about getting rid of these foods, those feelings of anxiety that you're feeling is actually connected to the parasites. It's not even your feelings. It's the parasites having these feelings because they don't want their food source to go away. I know, it's wild. So processed sugar, processed foods are not food. Just FYI. If you can, in your mind, differentiate that and go, bag of Doritos, not food, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And the reason that processed foods are problematic is that it's really hard for your body to break it down. Your body doesn't know what that is because there's no living enzymes in it. There's no living nutrients in it. It is so confusing for your body. Your body doesn't understand what you're shoveling in your mouth. So do yourself a service and get rid of all processed foods, processed meats, baked goods. All that stuff is highly, highly processed. It takes a lot of time to break down. Digestion is literally the hardest thing that your body does. And when you make it more difficult, that means your body's taking all this energy to try to break down food. And that's energy that your body does not have to rebuild itself. And then if the foods that you're putting in don't have any living enzymes, don't have any nutrients in them, then you're running on empty, for lack of a better word. I mean, not that I'm a car person, but you're putting the wrong gas in, you're putting in the wrong fuel. So of course you're sputtering along through life and you don't feel good. You get up in the morning, aches and pains. That is your body communicating to you. That is your body saying, you know what? I don't feel good. It's waving the white flag. It's asking for help. And the more that you ignore it, the more not good you're going to feel, right? So I like to tell people the straight goods. And I share this as somebody who used to eat fast food, processed sugar, alcohol, all the things. I was on them. And I stand before you as someone who, like, now when I look at food, I'm like, does that have any energy? Does it have any nutrients? Is it going to serve me in terms of my health and well-being? Or is it going to cost me in terms of my health and well-being, because it's going to be so hard for my body to break this down that it's just going to stress out my system. So sugar, processed foods. Next up is alcohol. Alcohol is so toxic to your body. I know it's holiday season. I'm about to take I'm about to take all the stuff away from you. Alcohol is so toxic to your body that your liver that has like 800 jobs to do stops all those 800 jobs to try to get the alcohol out of your system. That's how toxic it is. It's toxic to your liver, to your gut, to your stomach, to your brain, to your thyroid. This is one of those things that does affect thyroid function. So if you're one of those people that buy into this idea of, well, just in moderation, just say, hang on, let's hope my dogs are going to start barking. Hey, guys, shh. If you believe the lie of just in moderation, just say this to yourself. I'm just going to have a little bit of poison. Because that's the, hey, guys, hey. Go worse, it didn't get better. Hey, Mama, Harley, Coco, this is going to be fun on the replay. Hey, we need silence. We're doing a live, please, and thank you. Back to the alcohol thing. So just say this to yourself, I'm only going to have a little bit of poison, and see how that sits in your body. How does that feel to you? You're just going to have a little bit of poison, because that's how toxic alcohol is to your system, and it does affect and impair thyroid function. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that. Caffeine. Caffeine also interrupts and disrupts thyroid function, T3 or T4, T3. So it would be wise to get rid of it. And I used to drink something like, some days I'd have like 3 or 4 double shots of espresso a day. And I get the whole idea of the ritual of coffee. I get it. I was a coffee drinker. You can swap that ritual out with something better. Start to switch to different kinds of herbal teas. If you can, I love I make like these mushroom latte things for myself using cashew milk. It's one of my favorite things to do. I only have one and it doesn't mess with my thyroid function. So that would be something that you can go to. And I saved the best 2 for last because I get so much pushback on this. And the other thing is, every single thing that I've mentioned on this list has a pH of 1. It is so acidic to the body. It is so toxic and acidic to the body that it really inflames your system. So just think of it this way. If you're having if everything you're putting in your body is inflammatory, it's going to be problematic. Next up is dairy, right? Dairy has this interesting thing of the protein in dairy causes an antibody response. And those antibodies turn around and attack your thyroid. And this is I'm not making this stuff up. This is according to the work of Dr. Neil Barnard, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They've got lots of stuff on their website. You are more than welcome to go look up what they do. But basically, those antibodies turn around and attack your thyroid. There are other issues with dairy as well. Very, very mucus forming, very acidic. When you give it to young kids, it can contribute to type 1 diabetes and asthma. So it is very, very problematic. After we're done weaning from our mother's milk, there's actually no reason for us to be consuming the milk of another species. And I know that a lot of people talk about nutrients and all that. You can get them. You can get those same nutrients from things like sprouts and leafy greens and actual food, which is what we're supposed to be doing. Because if you look in nature, when animals stop feeding from their mothers, they usually switch to food, right? So I encourage you to switch to actual food and get away from dairy. And especially pasteurized dairy has no living enzymes, no living nutrients. The heat, the pasteurization process got rid of all that. The other thing is, every single food I'm mentioning here, or food, I know some people see it as food. I kind of see it as food in quotation marks. Because everything I've mentioned has no living enzymes, has no nutrients. And so if you're putting stuff into your body that doesn't have living enzymes, doesn't have nutrients in it, then there's really no reason to consume it because you're putting a stress on your system. When you start to look at food as energy and information, I got more balloons. When you start to look at food as energy and information and start to put foods into your body that actually have living enzymes, living nutrients in it, you're going to start to feel different. Because when you're consuming those types of foods, your vibration raises. You start to think more clearly. You start to have more energy. Your joints stop hurting. Your mood gets better. You become electric, right? For lack of a better word, electric. The final thing on this list is meat. Meat and animal products and fish. In the case of meat, same issue as dairy. The protein causes an antibody response within the body. Those antibodies turn around and attack the thyroid. So if you're dealing with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's and you're putting stuff into your body that creates this antibody response, that is not what you want. It really isn't. So now you've probably watched this video and you're like, Julie, I can't eat anything. Not true. Not true at all. You can have sprouts, you can have fruits, you can have veggies, you can have nuts and seeds, you can have like actual living foods that our body is designed for. And one of the best things that you can put into your body is fruits, because fruits are the easiest for your body to digest. They're the quickest to digest. They have glucose, essential amino acids, which is what protein breaks down into. And fruits are also very hot. They're in the proper pH for us. They're usually from 6 to 7 pH, and they leave an alkaline ash after digestion, which means they're very, very hydrating for the body. They have the proper mineral content that our body needs in terms of like what happens after digestion. So I know I went a little bit over, but I hope that kind of gives you a better understanding of the foods to avoid and what you want to be starting to add in. One of the best things that you can do for yourself if you're just starting on your journey to health is start your day with fruit. Start with like a bowl of berries or different kinds of apples. I will say this, never mix melons, any type of melon with other types of fruit, because the fruit that digests the fastest is melon. So when you start mixing fruits, melons with like bananas, I'll have to do another video on food combining, but there is an intelligence to how you want to be combining your food. And a nightmare for the body is the typical Western breakfast, which is usually bacon, eggs, toast, and like a tiny piece of fruit and coffee. It's like acid, 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 and maybe a little slice of orange that gets eaten at the end and ferments in the stomach. And then people are like, well, fruit doesn't agree with me. Well, it's not going to agree with you if you go and have these foods that are so slow for your body to digest, and then you have the fastest food to digest at the very, very end. It's really going to muck up your system. And yes, it is going to cause fermentation and bloating and gas and uncomfortableness with your system. So you do need to be intelligent about how you combine your foods. And that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other video. It's a whole other conversation. But if you're dealing with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, yes, Lori said more fruit combining. Yeah. So, yeah, all I can say is start your day with some mixed berries. That's one of the best things you can do. Or oranges. Oranges are great. There was one last thing I had to say. Oh, yeah. So I'll put it to you this way. If you are someone who has eggs, bacon, bread for breakfast, by the time you go to bed, your breakfast has not digested. That's how much stress and how slow it is for your body to try to break down the typical Western breakfast. So do not do it. Have some fresh fruit. Don't drink coffee on an empty stomach. Very, very acidic. Just wake up in the morning, say your prayers, be grateful. As soon as your feet touch the earth in the morning or the ground out of bed, be like, thank you, whoever you pray to. Thank you for allowing me the blessing of this day. And then when it comes to eating, just have some fruit. Have some apples, cut up pears, and do that for a week. I would be surprised if you don't start to feel better. you know. And if you want more guidance and support, I do have a group program called Elevate. It's all about elevating your health, your awareness, your consciousness, learning about all the tools that you can utilize, not just on the nutrition side, but also in terms of your mindset and and movement, and bringing in the proper tools that actually work, and all of that good stuff. So make sure that you check out the membership, check out the captions below this video. And if you're catching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. I went a little long today. Anytime we talk about food, it's like such a big topic. No way I can cover it in a 15-minute video. So I tried. I'll do food combining on another video by request. Maybe I'll hit that next week. And thanks for being here. If you think that this video would really help someone else to understand their health challenges more deeply, especially if they're dealing with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, please send them this video. I reversed hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's 100% holistically. I've been completely off medication now for 5 years. So I know this stuff works. I'm a walking, talking, living testament to this work. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll see you on next week's live. Bye for now.